All right, Shalom. I want to start out by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Shema, Shabbat, Shema, Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And Shalom to all the Akimata pushing the word in sincerity and in truth. All right, this is a lesson I'm going to go into basically endure through all terrains and harsh conditions. As brothers of the hopeful elect that's laboring and pushing the word of Yahawah, Shema, Shai, we're soldiers in this battle. And when you look at these movies pertaining to soldiers, pertaining to warfare, it gets very, very extreme. The conditions get harsh. You tend to lose touch with ones you love, so to speak, because you're solely involved in an obligation, and you know that you have to be fully focused in that. Taking down the enemy. The objective cannot be compromised in the midst of the battle. After the battle, that's when pleasures and the goodness of celebrations and things of that nature can commence, so to speak. But when the battle is set, depending on how long, whether it's months or years, that individual as a soldier has to endure. Now, in the walk of being a soldier, you go through all kinds of different climates and conditions. You have highs and mostly lows, and most times, you have to be, adamant, so to speak, mentally adamant. You have to have a high level of perseverance and endurance because of all conditions and terrains that you may go through and face. It's always a new challenge, all right? That's why when you look at these movies pertaining to soldiers and warfares, where they have to train, the training simulations are very, very rigorous, man. You might be going through a muddy platform, and you have to climb through while bullets are flying on top of your head. You have be amongst barbed wire. You might get cut. It gets very, very bad depending on whatever sergeant or leader, that is ranked above them, lays out for them. And the harsher the condition, the stronger the soldier. You watch these different movies and you see these different soldiers having to get battle tested, and they have to go through the worst of conditions. But it does what? It brings out the essence of them. And we have to remember that we're soldiers of YAHAWASHI. So when we going through these battles and going through these harsh terrains in our everyday lives, guess what? We're being battle tested, and those tests are strengthening and helping you have a level of self perseverance, man. All right. So this is 2 Timothy 2, verse 3. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier as YAHAWASHI. Excuse me, as a good soldier of YAHAWASHI Mashiach. Right. So Paul is putting that as a commandment for the followers of YAHAWASHI to endure the hardness that comes with being a good soldier. Now I want to get that word endure hardness, and I want to get that word soldier, but I'll start with endure. The word endure goes back to the Greek word kakapateo, which is to suffer, endure evils, hardships, troubles, to be afflicted. So you're gonna go through afflictions. You're gonna suffer. You're gonna go through hardships and troubles. But the main thing is to do what? To endure. All right. The Lord wants when we signed up for this course, the Lord already set it and laid it out for us to go through it. But the main thing is for us to endure. And you have right here used frequently of the hardships of military service. Right, and this is to a certain degree a military service. All right, it's not as Esau's layout, where you have to have an actual physical gun and badge, and you have to go through all these carnal things to actually be recognized as a soldier. This isn't the U.S. Military. This is a spiritual military, and this nonetheless is a service. The scriptures speak about the weapon that we have in our possessions to fight in this war. Ephesians the 6th chapter, Hebrews 4 and 12, the sword of the spirit, which is YAHAWASHI's word. All right, and it speaks about darts that's constantly being shot at us. It's speaking about how throughout the scriptures and Proverbs how snares let nets, like it says, a woman's hearts are snares and nets. Those are booby traps. Booby traps are set all throughout around us, amongst a lot of other things, that, and it tells us to fight in the midst of these different conditions. All right. So that word endure, excuse me, is of a grave importance. And let's get into this word soldier. The word soldier goes into the Greek word stratiotis, which is a champion of the cause of Yahawashi, a warrior, a soldier. So, in order to be ranked champ, you have to go through many fights, many bouts, many training courses. You gotta know how it feels to get your lips split open, so to speak. Your head cracked over, cracked in the head, so to speak. You gotta know how it feels to take body shots. You gotta know how it feels in all these conditions. And you watch these different movies, even with these boxers, with their training courses, those are just as vigorous as soldiers, man. Because to a certain degree, they're like soldiers on individual soldiers. That word soldier goes back to the word solitude. They're just one man army, so to speak. It's a one-on-one competition, and whoever is the best is the one that reigns supreme. The one that actually has a better range of experience, focus, endurance. Embodying all the capabilities or the characteristics of a champion to actually gain that victory, because champions aren't just crowned by default, so to speak. You don't just give any man just the crown and say, all right, you're the champ. You have to fight for it to be a champion. All right. It takes work. It takes a lot of work. It takes relentlessness. It takes critiquing, fine-tuning your craft so that you could become the best man you could be. So continuing on, verse 4, no man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, right? And that's of a major importance too. When you're in the midst of the battle, don't get entangled with these mortal thoughts. Scriptures speak about those mortal thoughts and to flee from them. All right, it says, let not your sins weigh you down. So certain things have a tendency and have a can put a toll on your spirit, and it could keep you distracted. All right, matter of fact, I want to get that word entangled too. That word entangled is to be enweaved and be involved with. So you don't want to be enweaved or involved with things of the world, because you have the affair of this warfare that you should be tending to. So it says that he may please him who have chosen him to be a soldier. And who chose us to be soldiers in this thing? YAHAWASHI. And so the enemy, which the enemy is the so-called white man, and you have the spiritual demon Satan that's looking to seduce you and keep you distracted, keep you entertained, keep you out of the spirit. But it's all about what you do to overcome that, man. And you got certain men that continue strong in the midst of the battle, and you got certain men that hiccup and fall behind. All right, because depending on the terrain, some men they tap out, man. Depending on how bad the storm gets, you got certain men that jump ship. You got to, in the spirit, you have to weather the storm, man. And, the boat is rocking, but guess what? Keep pushing, man. You don't jump ship. You keep marching forward, because there's men that depend on you, and you're fighting for a cause. You're fighting for something that's great. Paul spoke about how we fight not as one that beateth the air. So we're not swinging blindly. We're swinging for a strong purpose. This is Proverbs 20:4. The sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold. And the sluggard represents somebody that's lazy and that doesn't have a level of eagerness, a level of zeal. And the word plow means work. So he's not going to work because the terrains are too murky. All right. It may be too cold outside. You got to you got to fight through all seasons, man. That's why it says, therefore ye shall beg and harvest, because at the end of the day, this is the best time to work. You know, right now the scriptures speak about occupying because Yahawashi is gonna come and it's like as it is written, shall you not find faith on the earth. So if you're not working and doing that which is required when it's time to gather, reap and harvest, you ain't gonna have shit. You ain't gonna have nothing in your reserves to help you sustain and to keep calm and to keep restored in that time, man. Because we're gonna go into the time of Jacob's trouble, and you gotta be prepared for that, man. Um, this is 2 Timothy 4:2. Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. Right. So the scriptures speak about preaching this word. All right. Preaching is synonymous with teaching, and it says to be instant. When something is instant, is present, and they speak about in seasons. All right. When seasons are convenient, and out of season when seasons are inconvenient. So it's going to be a lot of inconvenient times where we're going to be inconvenienced. But when we're inconvenienced, do we complain or do we endure? We have to endure. All right, we have to go through these different things, like I said, and I have these different images, like you see these different men. Of course, they're Edomites. The point is not who they are. It's the point of what they're involved in, and the spirit. Extract the spirit out of this. The terrain is horrible, very cold. But guess what? They're fully strapped up. They wrapped up to survive and to sustain, and they're marching forward in the midst of the battle, man. They're not complaining about how cold it is, asking the whether they're lieutenant or sergeant or whatnot, can they just fight another day because it's too cold outside. They're not complaining about the joints and all that bullshit. They're fighting, man, and they're risking their lives. So we have to represent that same spirit. Fighting, risking their lives through the snow. Look at this. Look at these rain conditions, man, up to the waist. And some of these men, they get immune to it, man. They get numb to the terrain. They get numb to the harsh conditions, and it's like second nature to them. So you got to be in the same mentality. When all this hell comes to you, you got to be second nature to you. And last but not least, you see the muddy terrain. Grime. And you got certain men that get in and they start to be in these certain terrains and they start to bug out, man, because it overwhelms them. All right, and they used to a clean uppity lifestyle. They used to being tidy. As a soldier, that's the last thing you need to worry about is being all tidy, man. You're gonna have to go through the grunts, man. You have to go through the grime, through the worst of conditions in order to excel and in order to get the victory, like it says, as a champion for the cause of Yahawashi. So this is just something I have for Akim, just as a motivation and spirit to endure, through all conditions, terrain, seasons, in season, out of season, so to speak. So I want anybody giving all praise, honor, and glory to YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, BAHASHAM, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom Akim.